The NBA regular season is basically over. For most teams, there's about 4 to 5 games left on the schedule until we actually get to the playoffs. And this has been a very intriguing NBA season through in and throughout. We've seen so many things happen. We've seen so many players break out, so many teams have done well and have exceeded our expectations. And I feel like this season has exposed a lot of things that we were not ready to admit. So let's talk about some of those things that have been exposed throughout this season. And for the record, when I say expose, I don't necessarily mean it has to be in a bad way, because the first thing we can expose is the fact that Victor Wembanyama has just finished one of the greatest rookie seasons we've ever seen. And I know statistically you might look stuff up and be like, oh, well, Wilt Chamberlain did this or Michael Jordan did that. But I think we need to understand not only Wemby's situation, but what he did. And it's a lot of stuff that we did not expect. Now, I know that Victor Wembanyama was one of the most hyped up prospects we've seen since LeBron James. But a lot of people thought that this season was going to go bad for Wemby, and they just thought he was a better version of Bol Bol. I'm not even kidding. That's what Shaq has said. But regardless of what those people have said, Wemby has not only proven that, number one, on a minutes restriction, he is one of the best centers in the league right now. You can make the argument he's a top 20 player, but the San Antonio Spurs might have one of the brightest futures in the NBA. And trust me, I don't want to talk about this for too long because I'm going to make a whole dedicated video about this, talking about everything that Wemby's done, all the history he's made, the strides he's done, and what's for the future of the Spurs. But as of right now, I'm just going to say this. Victor Wembanyama has a very, very bright future in the NBA. I mean, at the time of recording this, today was the solar eclipse, and Nike just dropped some amazing commercial branding Wemby. This man is going to be one of the biggest faces of the league, and this man is not even 20 years old. Now, obviously, as far as basketball stuff goes and stuff we can actually put like to statistics, he had a great season, he broke a lot of records, and overall, I'm excited to see what goes on for this man's future. But I think that's a pretty mellow take. I feel like everyone can agree that Victor Wembanyama had a great rookie year and that he has a bright future ahead of him. But something else that we've learned is that the Western Conference is by far better than the East. If we look at the standings, we can see that the first seeded Boston Celtics are better than just about any other team in that conference, and the gap is pretty far. However, in the West, despite a lot of these teams having close to 50 wins, it's still a very close race. Currently in the Eastern Conference, there is only one team with over 50 wins, and that is the Boston Celtics, who have 62. However, in the Western Conference, there are currently 4 teams right now that have surpassed the 50-game mark. And what's even crazier about this is that there could be a 5th team joining that club. The Mavericks have 48 wins right now with 4 games left to play, and they are arguably the hottest team in basketball right now. So who's to say that the Mavericks cannot also join that club, making it the 5th team to possibly have 50 wins? Now, technically, a team like the Suns could also do it, but I doubt they're going to go 4-0 in their last 4 games. They have a pretty tough schedule. But let's just ignore the number of wins for a sec. The teams that the Western Conference have is a lot better than whatever the East is trying to provide. And I know this has been something in the past where the West has been better than the East, but I know over the past couple years, people have tried to make the other argument around when that's just simply not true. I genuinely think for the next 10 years, the Western Conference is going to take over the NBA like they once did before. But again, this isn't really a topic I wanted to spend too much time on because it's just these little small things that I'm starting to notice. Teams like the Lakers and the Warriors, the quote-unquote old school teams, like the teams that were once good, they're no longer gonna be good anymore. And for some reason, the media is trying to overhype these teams, and it's very apparent that we're entering a brand new era of basketball. For better or for worse, Steph Curry and LeBron James, they're not gonna do shit in the playoffs. Let's just accept that. While yes, the Warriors are a play-in team and they technically could make the playoffs, their ceiling, I honestly believe, is a first-round exit, and that's best case scenario. And for the Lakers, while technically they're one of the hottest teams in basketball, I don't think it's fair to say their ceiling is also a first-round exit. Despite whatever they did last year in the Western Conference Finals, I'm not confident in the Lakers coming into the end of the season. I just don't think they're a good team, and I think overall we're trying to overhype these older stars, but the fact of the matter is they're not what they used to be. And I could try to make that argument about Kevin Durant, even though he is putting up top 5 player stats right now. The fact of the matter is, come playoff time, is Kevin Durant going to struggle like he kind of did last year? Even though in the regular season he's been very consistent, it feels like in the playoffs there's a chance he could very much drop off. I mean, do you remember last year when the conversation was, oh, who's the better player, Kevin Durant or Devin Booker? And everyone said Kevin Durant, yet Devin Booker had arguably one of the best playoff runs we had seen that year. And unfortunately, it got overshadowed by the fact that the Nuggets were overall just a better team, but still, this is something important to note. It does suck that some of the greatest players of all time, their careers are ending very soon. I mean, I honestly think LeBron might have like 1 to 2, maybe 3 years left in the NBA. It sucks that one day we're not going to be able to to see Steph Curry or LeBron or Kevin Durant play the game that we love. But on the bright side, we have a brand new group of players that are going to overtake the league, and it seems like they're already starting to do just that. Guys like Anthony Edwards, Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Ja Morant, there are so many guys that are going to be taking over the league. Even Victor Wembanyama, who I talked about earlier. There are so many talented and fun guys that are going to be entering the league or even still in the league right now, and I feel like this is going to be a next great era of basketball. Something else that we have to talk about, this is someone individually, but Draymond Green will never change, and we have to stop acting like he's going to. Earlier in the season, Draymond Green's career was set to be over. A lot of people thought after his suspension that things were never going to go good for him. Granted, after a while, Draymond Green was reinstated back to the league, and for a while he did pretty good. However, over the past couple weeks, he's been doing even more dumb shit, and it teaches us one thing: he is never going to change. And I think Steph Curry even realized this, hence why we saw that clip of him crying after this happened. The NBA did all they could. Adam Silver did all he could. I'm sure the Warriors did all they could, but it does not matter because Draymond is never going to change. And it leads me to believe that the Warriors as a whole are probably going to be blown up as a team within the next 1 to 2 years, I'd say. Something else that we have to address is the Boston Celtics. The Boston Celtics have no choice but to win the NBA Finals this year, or this season is a straight up disappointment. I remember I made my video about the Boston Celtics in the offseason, and a lot of people have been cooking me ever since I made that video. Now, if you actually saw the video, you would know that I did say in the regular season, there's a very good chance they end as the first seed, and that's exactly what they've done. They're going to end as the best team in basketball. It's not even close. This has been official for the past 2 to 3 weeks. However, I did say come playoff time, I had my concerns, and now we're entering playoff time. I am very interested to see how Jason Tatum, how Jaylen Brown, how the bench can perform, because I'm telling you right now, if any of the bad things that I says happens, if Drew Holiday struggles, if Jason Tatum struggles, if Jaylen Brown still doesn't have a left hand, I'm telling you, we are going to have serious conversations that some Celtics fans are not going to like. I'm not one to usually call a player a fraud or nothing like that, but shit, there is a very good possibility this happens. The Boston Celtics are practically forced to win the NBA title. There is no winning if they don't get it. Like, even if they make the finals and they still lose, this shit is a failure. Like, statistically, they have the best team in basketball. They've won the most games. They've done everything they should. Well, now it comes down to using everything that's happened and using it to win a title. Now, you might be saying, Spex, who do you think is going to win the NBA Finals? Well, I'm actually going to make a video about that within the next week. I'm probably going to make it actually like the day before the playoffs start. So also, I'm pretty sure I talked about this during the mid part of the video, but ladies and gentlemen, we have a very big charity event going on during the month of April. We are trying to raise $1,000 for the Salvation Army. Again, there's a chance I already talked about it, but in case I didn't, I'm hosting an NBA YouTube Awards show on April 21st, 2024. I'm going to be having 10 different NBA creators, some of your favorite creators on this platform, and we're going to be announcing some awards. It's going to be dope as shit. I'm very excited. The poster is out. The announcement is officially live, and I am super excited for this to go down. If you want to donate, all you got to do is look down below the video, or I'll put something in the description below to explain how to do it. But ladies and gentlemen, again, that video is dropping April 21st, 2024 around 12 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. Anyways, ladies and gentlemen, this is probably going to be one of the last videos before the NBA regular season. I think I have like 2 to 3 more videos before the actual playoffs start, but needless to say, I'm very excited for the playoffs, and I promise y'all we're going to have a next crazy couple months of basketball, man.